So we move on to the panels now from yesterday's panel 4. Now we are coming to panel 5. So what happened yesterday was a very powerful start, and it gave us full insight, honesty, bold ideas, perspectives on partnerships and collaboration, and it raised some very provocative questions on exclusions and gaps that AI can create and is creating for the disabled, and the purpose and intent on inclusion of people with disabilities. So taking this forward from yesterday, today's session is, the first one is titled From India to the World, Building Assistive Technologies under this theme. Um, I'll just give you a brief overview so that you can connect the context. India is rapidly positioning itself as a global hub for assistive technology, and I know because I'm working in the sector, and as ma'am also mentioned, we have not only people who without disabilities working on assistive technology, we have people with disabilities who are coming up with technology to work on their own challenges. For example, there's a member in my cohort. I was doing a fellowship. She is deaf, and her first language for any deaf person is the sign language. She has built an app to help people like herself, those who are born deaf and their first language is sign language, to master a second language, which is English, Hindi, or their dialect. So you can see that we are moving into a very thriving ecosystem, and we are getting such technology that it has made our lives absolutely easier. I can say 90%, 99% of the time. Being a totally deaf person today, I am relying on my assistive technology to help me in my day-to-day functioning. So let's invite the panelists now. Leading this powerful conversation, we have a moderator who brings global perspective and deep regional insights. Please welcome Maria Ignacia Rodriguez from Foundation Descumbrime. I hope I'm pronouncing all this correctly. A dynamic international cooperation leader who has helped expand disability inclusion networks across Europe and Latin America and played a key role in regionalizing the Zero project across Ibero-America. Maria leads international cooperation efforts across Europe and Latin America, and she brings a global lens like she'll be doing today for us. And she'll also be leading this entire discussion. So welcome, Maria. Please give a big hand to Maria. Joining Maria is Shilpi Singh, from EdTech to FinTech to Assistive Tech. Shilpi calls herself a steward of accessible innovation. Today, she stands at the intersection of all the three as a passionate innovator. A key to enable, Shilpi leads the mission of assistive education, using technology to transform learning and unlock livelihood opportunities for students with disabilities. She works across an entire ecosystem of special educators, parents of learners, and employers, ensuring that accessibility is not an add-on, but a catalyst. So welcome, Shilpi. Joining Shilpi and Maria is Or Cohen, a global accessibility leader and consultant, and the founder and CEO of Global RAM, a global organizational accessibility expert, or has led disability inclusion transformations across Israel, Latin America, Africa, and the US, including work with governments, tech companies, and major global employers. He brings the perfect blend of tech, policy, and real-world impact. Please welcome Or to the stage. We also have Himanshu, with 17 years of experience and expertise in digital accessibility and software testing. Himanshu built Accessible Minds on the belief that technology should unite, not divide. The company partners with clients across India, the US, the UK, Europe, and Middle East, helping governments, non-profits, and enterprises achieve true accessibility beyond compliance. So welcome all panelists, and over to Maria.
Hello, hello. Yes, you can hear me. Please. We made it cozier. We're a bit tucked together. So, first of all, thank you all very much for coming, for being here with us, for sharing, for being interested also. I'm Maria Ignacia Rodriguez. I know it's a long Spanish name. You can call me Ignacia. It's much shorter. Sorry. There you go. And I'm in charge of moderating the conversation today, which is a very interesting challenge because I'm not an AT expert. However, I do work in disability inclusion since 2018. So, of course, this conversation is interesting to me. I think it's also relevant for everybody. And when I was reviewing the presentations to prepare my introductory remarks, I realized that this session is called Assistive Technology in India, from India to the world. But when you say technology, technology is like the first image that you get when you're talking about AT. But I believe that this conversation is truly about innovation with purpose more than technology. So the conversation to me is how technology is used to break barriers, to empower people with disabilities, to create opportunities for people with disabilities. So as you all know, India is already emerging as a global hub for assistive technology, which is driven by a very strong startup ecosystem with supportive policies and also with international collaboration, which I think is very evident in our room today because we are there's a lot of international participants in this conference. And what we'll do today in this session is that we'll explore how inclusive design and affordability can go hand in hand also with world-class quality. So when we speak about made in India, this label made in India means something, and it means something good, means something with quality. And we have incredible innovators shaping this future today. Some of them are here with us in this stage. Some of us are here in our room. And these innovators are transforming systems in education, in technology, in employment, and many more. So I believe our conversation today will dive across three main questions. And when we hear the speeches today, I want you all to have in mind these three main ideas that we'll be hearing today. First of all is, how do we design technology that includes everyone? The second, how are partnerships and policies relevant to accelerate scalability and sustainability in disability inclusion? And the third one, and I believe this is the most relevant one for our room here today, is how India's ingenuity and wit can actually contribute to a global ecosystem of assistive technologies. So let us all have in mind when we're hearing the speeches today that this conversation is not about just the devices. It's about dignity. It's about opportunity for people with disabilities. And it's about the empowerment of people and for people with disabilities to live full lives, to participate, to actually be able to enjoy all of our rights and all of their rights as well. So let's dive in. I don't want to stretch these introductory remarks too much. Let's dive in and hear from our panelists who are actually making this vision a reality. And I want to start with Shilpi Singh because you were first in the list. So Shilpi, sorry, let me find the rest of my notes. Shilpi, you are the VP of Global Market Expansion at Key2 Enable, based in the United Arab Emirates, and you've also it was very interesting to me to read your bio because you said your role is to drive educational skill using assistive technology, what you call assistive education. So I'm very happy that you're with us here today, and I really wish that we all enjoy your presentation. I understand you're going to take the what's the name in English? I forgot. The podium. No, the podium. Sorry. Yeah, so please do, and thank you very much for being with us here today.
Before I start, for those of you who cannot see me, I'm an Indian woman wearing a green South Indian sari, black hair, big black eyes. Suprabhat and good morning to everyone. It's a privilege for me to be in this forum. Especially, I'm very passionate and emotional about this subject because I was a fintech person, as Sangeeta ma'am told, and I had no vision that, or even imagination that one day I will be amongst all of you working on this very, very purposeful purpose. So as Maria told, I represent Key2 Enable. I'm based out of UAE. And I was really inspired when I came across this product and the solution which is being developed by Key2 Enable. The product was actually incubated in Brazil, and we have an inspirational story behind it. It was actually inspired by an innovation by a student with cerebral palsy at MIT. And as Sangeeta ma'am mentioned, that some of these technologies are being developed by people with determination. And I beg your pardon, I'll be using the terminology people of determination because that's how we call them in UAE. And I don't know if I can be an inspiration over here to change that terminology from people with disability to people with determination. It sounds more positive and more motivating. So we have had the honor of having 40 global awards across the globe. Zero Project 2023, one of them. EU Tech SDG, GITEX 2019, and United Nations, to name a few. So let's imagine trying to type or move a mouse, but the hands would just not cooperate. Sounds quite impossible, right? And that's where our innovative smart device called KeyX comes into play. It is a 11 key device, 16 by 16 inch. Can we move? Can I have the controller, or can you click?
The clicker.
Yeah. So it has 11 buttons, and it allows you to use any of your devices, computers, tablets, phones, at a click, right? So you see those colorful buttons. It exactly works like a keyboard. We have a physical device as well, which we have in our stall at the second floor on the stall number 12. So we will be giving a live demo as well. This, coupled with our online learning platform, supports communication, cognitive development, triggers creativity, thinking power, and an independent learning. This effort has led to the creation of a digital literacy lab and ecosystem that empowers learners and special educators to thrive together. Along with this, we have on the left-hand side of the semicircle, if you see, we have some really supporting devices, and each one of them come with a unique power. The excuse, it triggers the command on a gentle press. A-blinks listens to your eye blink, and Colibri captures your head movement and makes you move the mouse without your hands. These digital devices and the online platform allows people of determination with 80% of functional disability type to use the digital learning system. Next slide, please. Yeah, so can you please play the video on the right, please? Yeah, so that's the glimpse of a classroom. This is at Zayed Higher Organization in Abu Dhabi, where we are seeing technology meets the transformation and the learning ecosystem is becoming highly engaging. That's Rashid. He is using his feet to type, and we have trained him for 6 months, and today he works for the Abu Dhabi government, and he is independent. So as Maria said, that accessibility is for us is just not an add-on, is the foundation for a truly inclusive education. We find the students very engaged. We have 95% attendance in the classrooms. The teachers find this tool and the ecosystem very, very motivating for the students, and the communication between the teachers, the educators is very, very engaging. Can we play the video on the other side. The KeyX video. Yeah, so that's the KeyX, and you can see how it's easy to use it. Is you just need a tab. The tab is very soft. You don't have to press it too hard. The keyboard is very, very portable. You can carry it anywhere you want to, and it's very robust. So we know we have some children who would tap on it or bang on it, but it's been made very, very robust. Can we move to the next slide? Oh, okay. We just would like to see how our key to enable is an advantage. It is smart, inclusive, and scalable. So as I mentioned, the Expressia and KeyX, they are compatible across the platform. You can use it with your tab, computer, iOS, Android systems, okay? They are data-driven, which means that we have recordings of the way the student is engaged in his learning. We create reports, we share it with the parents on a day-to-day basis, which enables them to understand how their child is doing on an everyday basis, right? So we had a student who did not communicate at all, right? And his parents were really worried. Today, he's the most talkative student in the class. He's most expressive in the class. And as I said, this tool, we are making sure that is personalized as well as customized. So we are working on a generative AI to make sure that every learner's pace and their capabilities are integrated into their learning mechanisms. And last but not the least, it's very affordable. We know that there are so many assistive technologies, and we want to be sure that the cost of the solution does not become a constraint for anyone to adopt it. This is not working. Sorry. Anyway, no problem. So in terms of our beneficiaries, we have not just the students, but also educators, therapists, parents, and schools, and even governments and NGOs who are working towards the inclusive education. To ensure that our products, so as I mentioned, we are just not focused on our products, we are focused on making sure the products and the solutions that we have are implemented and used in the right way. So that's where we have this concept of digital literacy lab. So we do an assessment of the school, what kind of students they have, what are the requirements, and based on that, we set up the digital literacy lab at the schools or the government centers that want to adopt this. And finally, we also do the training, monitoring, and upscaling of the educators to keep pace with the learning of each of the students. So far, if you look at the statistics, we have impacted about 30,000 students globally and helped them gain independence, confidence, and digital literacy. So through Key to Enable, we are demonstrating that inclusion is just not a goal. It's scalable and sustainable, and it's a reality.
We need to go into the next speaker.
Yeah, sure. So I'll just close it. That talks about our goals for the next 4 years. And I heard yesterday we have about 40,000 crores as funding. So I'm sure funding should not be a limitation to roll out this interesting and really viable technology. Thank you. Thank you for listening to me. And last but not the least, please do visit our stall number 12 for live demo. And those of you who want to visit a center in India, I take your permission, Shalu, to invite them to the center at Gurugram and Vasant Vihar. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shilpi. I think your presentation has showed us how inclusive technology can actually transform education, transform the lives of students with disabilities, and also moving beyond accessibility to actual empowerment, to independence, to a self-determined life. So unfortunately, I don't think we have much time to go through all of the questions that I wish we could talk. So what we'll do next is that we will dive into the next presentations, and if time allows, by the end, then we'll do a round of questions, right? So thank you very much, Shelby. We're going to move into the next speaker, which is Or Cohen, sitting next to me, to my left. Or is, let me check, a social entrepreneur, advisor, and lecturer in the fields of accessibility, inclusive employment, and assistive technology, and also the founder of Global Rump. So thank you very much, Or, for being here with us today, and please show us the light, as your name tells us as well, in assistive technology and how Israel is, changing this path for people with disabilities around the world. So I don't think yes, we do. We have more microphones.
Yeah, we have another microphone. So good morning, everyone. As mentioned, my name is Or Cohen. And I'm the founder of Global Rump, a global accessibility consultancy based in Tel Aviv. I'm working in the field of disability inclusion for the last 15 years. Started my professional journey in an organization called Access Israel. I've been leading the training department over there for 7 years. After that, I was managing the global operation of a startup company, manufacturing technological innovation for persons with disabilities. In the last 7 years, I have Global Ramp. For those of you who cannot see me, so I'll just describe myself very, very shortly. I'm a white male, a short beard, kind of a black, a little bit gray hair already started. Some would say I have a sharp face. I would also add maybe quite a dominant nose as well. And I think, just describing my clothes, I would say brown pants, a blazer, and a blue button shirt. Can I click? Is it working, the clicker, or you are? Okay. Okay, never mind. So if you can just go to the next one. Next click, please. No, the first one. It's supposed to have another photo. A photograph. Okay, go back. Okay, so another click. So anyway, it was supposed to have another photograph. Maybe take another click, maybe it will change. Let's see. Okay, so back, somehow it, okay. So just say that the photograph that is missing, but we have this photograph as well, is a photograph of me and my father. Here we are underneath the water, by the way. You cannot see it here clearly. In the other photo you can see it, but my father is a person with a mobility disability. And I'm always saying that before I'm an accessibility professional, first of all, I am the son of Razi, a person with mobility disability that was become a person with disability because of a motorbike accident. When I was quite young, I was 12 years old. It really influenced both my personal journey and also my professional journey. And here, for example, you can see me and my dad 40 meters underneath the water. It's in Sinai in Egypt. And my dad, as a paraplegic, cannot move his legs, right? But still there is something that enables him to dive like any other person. And the thing is, the very small assistive technology here is the gloves. You have gloves that are like fins, enable him to go underneath the water and to move underneath the water like every other person. And my father always saying, we just need to enable the choice. We just need to enable persons with various abilities, not only with disabilities, to maximize their abilities. And this is why I founded Global Ramp 7 years ago, to help organizations take this sentence, to enable the choice, and just make it more simple, more easier, more accessible. And in the last 7 years, we are working with organizations both in Israel, both globally, mainly governmental, also some high-tech companies, in order to change the DNA of the organization and really enables organization that is accessible for all, not only for persons with disabilities, but universal design eventually is for all of us, not only for them. And a very significant part of my work is around assistive technology. I'm advising to several initiatives in this field. If you can just pay it forward, please. Pass forward. And just go through again. Do all the clicks because it's like tuck, 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 tuck. Yeah. Yeah, just put all the main bullets, please. Okay, that's it. Thank you. So I would, yeah, thank you, Anya. So I would say that, probably some of you know that Israel considered to be the startup nation, right? So I would say that in the last decade or so, Israel really became not only the startup nation, it became the social startup nation for persons with disabilities, or the impact nation for persons with disabilities. And here on the picture, you can see the landscape of the Israeli assistive technology ecosystem. Today in Israel, we already almost have 100 different startups working in the field of assistive technology. And it's really inspiring to see how all the different players are working together. Both the government, both the VCs, both the startups themselves, also the NGOs, and there is a very strong innovation ecosystem that really works together, not only as a password. And it also have funds. I was speaking with many of you yesterday and told me that the biggest problem in this field is bringing money, to bringing the funds eventually. So I would say that fortunately the government is investing quite a lot of funds in this field in Israel. In the last 5 years, we got a governmental fund of 11 million US dollars in the past 5 years. And of course, it's really influenced from the fact that we have a very strong health tech that is also bringing money specifically to the assistive technology. In Israel, the health tech considered to have investment of 2.7 billion US dollars only in 2024. Quite a lot of money. Please, let's try again. Why not? Why not? Okay, let's see. No. No, love. Okay, thank you.
Please click.
Yeah, please click on the. Okay, so just do another further clicks. Okay, that's it. Thank you. So I'm very, very fortunate to work with one of the most inspiring initiatives in this field. The Techability community considered to be today the umbrella organization of the assistive technology ecosystem in Israel. I'm consulting to this initiative since it started in the end of 2023. It's a partnership between also governmental institutions, but also the JDC. It's kind of a between governmental and an NGO. And the impact in 2014, 2015, we had making a match between more than 70 organizations and startups working together, doing together POCs, getting funded, of course, for that, and a 1.3 million grants of shekels. It's in Israeli shekels. And we are talking about connecting really hundreds of key players in the ecosystem through events, through various meetups, through a lot of sessions. They're just saying, come, collaborate, and work together and create an impact together. We have also several programs. One, I think, of the most beautiful ones is something we are calling the Innovation Leader Programs. What does it mean? It means that we are taking leaders from the organization itself, train them, and give them the tools how to go back to the organization and to implement assistive technology. It's a huge organization. It's like the Israel police. It's like the biggest academic institutions, the biggest hospitals in Israel. All of those going through this specific training. And of course, we have a lot of events, a lot of capacity building being built over that. And it's really inspiring to see how the ecosystem is really growing not year, but every month. Can you please, next one. And many of thank you. Many of also yesterday, and many of the people asked me, so what makes it work? How come specifically in Israel this mechanism really creating an impact? So in 2022, one of my clients, organizations I'm consulting to is the Ministry of Economy. Now it's the Ministry of Labor in Israel. And in 2022, I did a report for the Ministry of Economy to really understand what's going on in the technological innovations of persons with disabilities. And I tried to find out what is the success factors. So there is mainly three of success factors that I found are the most significant ones. First of all, we have a very strong regulation, not only on the paper, it's been enforced. Every organization today in Israel has to be accessible for persons with various abilities, also towards the outside and also towards the employees. It's very affecting also the technology being implemented towards the outside and towards the inside. Second of all, a governmental support, as I said, quite significant one. I gave the numbers earlier, and a very strong civil society, NGOs. Access Israel is one of them, but we also have a lot of different various players, and also working together, not against each other. Working together, it's super important to just increase the impact. Please, the next one. And I would just say, for the end, we are really looking forward to increase the impact. We understand, as Ellen Keller said, alone we cannot do a lot. We can do so little. Together we can do so much. So please, if you are investor, VC, assistive technology company, a tech ecosystem, governmental institution, every organization that you think can really increase with us the impact. I don't believe in paper business cards, I'm sorry. This is my QR for the WhatsApp. You are more than welcome to scan it, to stay in contact, to just have a discussion and just really thinking together how we can take those really significant forces, India, Israel, and just making the world a better world, not only for persons with disabilities, but basically for everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Or. I think your presentation, I really like the name 360 because I think it shows that inclusion, it's truly a journey. It doesn't end truly, and it requires all of us to be able to advance on ensuring that people with disabilities are able to live their full lives. So thank you very, very much. I wish we had more time, but I think we're running a bit late. So I will dive into our third speaker, Himanshu Singh. Himanshu is the founder and CEO of Accessible Minds, an organization dedicated to making tech accessible and inclusive for all, enhancing user experience and eliminating digital barriers, which sounds very promising. So please, Himanshu, tell us a little bit more about you and about your work, and thank you very, very much for being with us here today.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Let me introduce myself. I'm Himanshu Singh, CEO and founder of Accessible Minds. And describing about myself, I am wearing a sky blue suit. However, sky is not blue anymore in Delhi now, and a pair of brown shoes with some mild gray and black hairs. So basically, I would be talking about based on my past experience. I hate reading out the slides. So when I started my journey in accessibility domain, so at that time I was learning accessibility concepts, WCAG, and international regulations and rules, because I was responsible for conducting audits on a lot of websites and mobile applications, so that we can make life a bit easier for people with disabilities, for companies who have websites and application in US and Canada, because there we have to ensure that each individual has access to equal information, equal opportunities of education and employment. But there was a pain point. We are doing this exercise for people in United States and Canada, but why we are not doing this in our own country? Then I searched a few things, and I got to learn that in India we do not have such regulations, mandates, or laws in place. Or maybe we may be having, but we don't have any roadmap to implement those regulations. So which was a bit heart breaking for me. But somewhere I had a very strong belief that someday down the line, maybe 10 years or 20 years later, we may also be having some regulations and mandates in our own country, so that our people should not be also deprived with equal opportunities of education, employment, and equal information. So few years later, Indian government started Accessible India campaign, which mandates all Indian government websites to be accessible. And I enjoyed being part of it, because we helped ONGC India to make this 7 website accessible: ONGC Videsh, ONGC Bandhan, and I believe, I'm not able to recall all those names. So this was starting where I feel that we are going into the right direction. And then later this year, SEBI mandate all financial institutions, banking institutions, to make their website, digital content, and digital assets accessible. So we started adapting that right approach, and not just government bodies. These food delivery apps, Swiggy, Zomato, and many other aggregators, they have also come up making their platform accessible for people with disabilities. So this was very delightful moment for me and for fellow like me, who think of a better country to cater people with disabilities. And so talking about more about assistive technology. So assistive technology market in India has reached around 2.4 billion USD last year, 2024, and it's projected to grow somewhere around 3.5 billion USD by 2033. So there is a lot of potential in India to grow in terms of assistive technology market, not just catering to the domestic market, but also catering to the global market. And around 24% of Indian population needs assistive technology, which is a huge number, but unfortunately, majority of chunks remain unserved. So what we need to do in this regard? We have to adopt universal design, not just designing for people with disabilities. We shall design in such a manner that it can be adapted by variety of users. As Ms. Nanda mentioned about some of the innovation and developed by Indian tech startups and IITs. Neo Motion, it's a wheelchair which can be attached with a motorbike, and it is being used by people with disabilities, and they are earning their bread and butter by delivering daily essentials and food items. And apart from that, we have like Indian company app which is known as Kibo. So using that app, you can scan any picture in front of you, or any handwritten content, so that it can be perceived by visually impaired users. In the same manner, IIT Kanpur has developed a smartwatch, which is again can be used by people with disabilities, so that they can uh, walk freely and perceive things around in their surroundings. So assistive technology cannot do alone anything. It should be a combined approach. We have to develop a complete ecosystem. We should start with awareness, creating awareness. Because I was talking to one of the IIT graduates, and he asked me, what you do? I said, I run an digital accessibility consulting company, and we provide end-to-end access solutions to our client. And I was shocked to know that he was like, hey, what is accessibility? I don't know. So you can just imagine, a technical person knows nothing about accessibility. So how or what a non-technical person will know. So the foremost thing, according to me, is to create awareness. The second thing being sensitizing the people, that we have to, that it's not just sympathy, it should be empathy for the people, respecting their dignity. We shall provide them opportunities for education and employment. At Accessible Minds, we believe in creating mainstream jobs. So it's not just we are creating any specific job for people with disabilities, we are creating jobs for the mainstream so that they can come and work with the other people. And we can see that the Western countries who adopted accessibility programs over more than 2 decades, they are not even halfway, and we have just started. So it's going to be a little long for us to make our country, to make digital content, to make our infrastructures, our transportation, and everything accessible for all. And it should be a combined effort from each individual, not just from the ministries and the local government bodies. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Himanshu, for your presentation. I think you've also shown us what is possible when commitment is key to developing new solutions, whatever in whatever industry or whatever area there is. I think there's personal commitment to the design of our products and to innovation. When we work together, then everything is possible. I don't know. Can somebody confirm if we have time for one round of questions? No. I'm very sorry, but I invite you all to connect in the coffee breaks, to connect, to talk, to discuss with our amazing speakers. So thank you all very much for our engaging discussion. I think this presentation highlights that technology is not just about functionality. It's a tool that when used and designed with users in mind correctly, and in this particular case with persons with disabilities in mind, it truly opens up the pathways to full participation, to full inclusion, to changing and transforming lives. So at the Gourmet, we know, we're very humble. We are aware we don't know everything. And we don't need to, because there are several organizations already designing, already testing, already trying out if their solutions work. And when they do work, I think it's relevant that all of us work together, to share, to learn, to inspire others, but to also be ourselves, to let ourselves be inspired, to learn what is going on around us. Because I personally believe that collaboration is key in whatever area we're working with or we're working in. So what we've tried to do is to actually bring all of these solutions to where they're needed. In Chile, in Latin America, we've already worked with solutions from India, from Brazil, from Spain. Now we're working with one from the Netherlands as well. So we are very also open to bring all of this innovation to Chile, to Latin America. And I particularly believe, and with this will close, that in this area that we're working with, in disability inclusion in general, it's very challenging, because we are working to build bridges and to erase very particular barriers, very evident barriers. For example, Shilpi, you're working in education, right? So when we're able to erase or to go through one bridge, we only realize that there is a bigger one right next to the door. So we need to be very passionate, but also very committed to work in disability inclusion. It's a very challenging job, but I also believe it's very, very fulfilling when done correctly, because we can see the change it brings into the lives of people with disabilities. So let us take this conversation forward. through partnerships, through knowledge sharing, and through a shared commitment to improving the lives of people with disabilities or people of determination, I believe. People of determination, whatever the concept that resonates the most with you is. And thank you just for being part of this important conversation today. Thank you to our three magnificent speakers for their presentations today, and please come and talk to us whenever the time allows. Thank you all very much, and I'll ask you for a big round of applause to our speakers.
Thank you, Maria, for summing it up so well. I don't think there's anything more for me to add, except that sometimes assistive technology comes from a very personal space. But we, as Oz story told us, or stories of other people with disabilities, their parents or families. I'll give you just two small examples. I have had the privilege of meeting two moms with neurodivergent kids who felt that their children, their children, those who are neurodivergent, have difficulty interacting and socializing. So they came together and they have launched a platform called Buddy Up, and which is helping scores and thousands of children with disabilities and their parents connect and socialize. It's coming from a very personally felt need. However, once that idea takes shape, it goes on to help so many people, thousands of people. It can be taken across borders. And like Maria summed up, collaboration is the key. We need to just learn from each other. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. And India, with the most innovative assistive tech hub, and we are very young, but we are doing great work. And also, we are taking our innovations everywhere. So I think we are learning from each other and we are on our path where I personally feel we won't take next 50 years or 100 years, but most likely next 10 years to 15 years, we should be somewhere where we can proudly say that we are a connected and inclusive society. So we come to the next panel discussion now. And this panel discussion, the topic is Inclusive Economies, Advancing Women's Entrepreneurship and Work with Disability. So now this conversation sits at the intersection of gender, disability, livelihoods, and leadership, a space where inclusion is no longer a moral aspiration, but an economic imperative. Across India, South Asia, and the global south, women with disabilities continue to face multiple overlapping barriers, from access to finance and market to workplace inclusion and safety. And yet, you will find that many of these women are building some of the most resilient enterprises, innovative support models, and powerful networks for change. This panel brings four leaders who are shaping inclusive economic ecosystems in very different ways. Through rehabilitation and health, sustainable business practices, financial inclusion, and survivor-led entrepreneurship. So I'm so delighted to invite a moderator, Anushka Tachel from Youth for Job, to the stage. Anushka works at the intersection of gender equity, disability inclusion, and economic empowerment. She has a background in economics, international politics, and a master's degree in international affairs from Penn State University. She brings research depth, policy experience, and a strong commitment to intersectional inclusion. So, Anushka, looking forward to your moderating session. Joining Anushka is Dr. Charu Sharma. She has over 14 years of experience across physiotherapy, rehabilitation, and disability inclusion, with significant work in the international development and humanitarian sector. She has led the managed rehabilitation and inclusion projects, strengthened capacities of health and rehabilitation professionals, and built partnerships across diverse ecosystems. She is also an International Paralympic Committee Level 2 medical classifier in para-athletics, adding a unique high-performance sports and functional assessment lens to her work. Please welcome Charu to the stage. Now we have Minita Ghimere. She's a sustainability professional with over 3.5 years of experience at the UN Global Compact Network, Nepal, where she advances responsible business practices through partnerships and ESG integration. She works closely with companies to align with UN Global Compact principles and the Sustainable Development Goals, with a particular focus on environmental, social, and governance priorities. Minita is a sustainability professional with over 3.5 decades of experience. She also played a very pivotal role in establishing the Nepal Business and Disability Network, creating a platform that brings together businesses, organizations of persons with disabilities, and disability led enterprises to promote inclusive employment and accessibility. Please welcome Manita. We have Neha Kansara, Chief Operating Officer at Friends of Women's World Banking India. She brings over 2 decades of leadership in women centric development. She has spearheaded large scale initiatives in financial inclusion, livelihoods, and micro entrepreneurship, directly strengthening more than 75 microfinance institutions, cooperatives, and producer organizations across the country. Please welcome Neha. And finally, we have Pragya Prasoon, an extraordinary change maker and founder of Ati Jeevan Foundation. A survivor leader herself, Pragya has supported more than 950 acid attack survivors with medical care, mental health services, and dignified livelihoods. Her campaigns, Ibas and Just Hire One, have transformed employment pathways, and her advocacy contributed to the Supreme Court landmark 2025 ruling on digital access as a fundamental right. Her work is a powerful example of leadership rising from lived experience. With this incredible panel, we look forward to a conversation that pushes us to rethink how economic systems can truly include women with disabilities, not as beneficiaries, but as leaders and builders. Over to you, Anushka.
Can everyone hear me? Yeah, okay. Thank you so much, Sangeeta, for those wonderful introductions. It's such an honor here to be at this panel, an all-women panel, and I love that this is the third panel on women with disabilities at the Zero Conference. And I like to start every panel with the same mantra to enhance the importance of discussions on intersectional issues of gender, disability, and poverty. And that's this, that when you get it right for women with disabilities, you get it right for all women. I'm Anushka Tachal from Youth for Jobs Foundation. For those who can't see me, I'm wearing a black turtleneck with navy blue pants. I have my hair tied up with big gold earrings. So I'd like to get this started and maybe just set the scene for what we're going to discuss here today, because we'll be hearing perspectives, quite diverse perspectives actually, on livelihoods, about financial inclusion, from first-hand experience from Pragya herself. We'll be hearing from Minita with insights from Nepal, and Dr. Charu, who will be bringing in disaster preparedness and economic relief. So Youth for Jobs, we have this initiative called We Do, which is the Women Entrepreneurs with Disabilities Initiative. And the reason we're working on this is because women with disabilities, being poor, and a person with a disability, is a triple discrimination. As a woman, it's hard for you to access education, employment, and leadership as it is. And when you're a person with a disability, you might not be accommodated in spaces that you want to be included in. And on top of that, it's compounded with no financial safety net and no resources to kind of break that cycle. So that's why it's important for us to look at this as an intersectional challenge altogether, so that more women can access opportunities, people with disabilities can be accommodated, and all marginalized people are included. So just to quickly go over the numbers of how deep this gap is, women with disabilities across the globe, only 19% are employed. Men with disabilities do better, women without disabilities do better, and women with disabilities are at the bottom everywhere. And out of the 12 million women with disabilities in India, only less than 1% of them are entrepreneurs. And there's only 5% representation in leadership and entrepreneurship programs. And this is a discrimination that starts very early on, because only 33% of girls with disabilities finish primary school. And this might be a top-down issue, because out of 300 plus ITIs that India has, only 5% of them explicitly include women with disabilities. So even when women with disabilities do join the workforce, they are, it's informal, it's often care-based work with no contracts, no safety, and no recognition. It's not that we don't have programs, it's that we don't have inclusive programs. So that's what we do, is trying to tackle through our on-ground work, where we have impacted over 150,000 women with disabilities already through enterprise training, livelihoods, and wage employment opportunities. We also want to do this across the globe and expand our network to get more voices out there. We've already made over 100 women with disabilities visible globally through our booklets, spanning with their stories now spanning across 15 countries in South Asia and Africa. So what we've found through our work, there were 4 stark insights that Bridgespan found from our on-ground work, and that's that 75% of the women with disabilities in our programs were not included in self-help groups, which is what we want to solve through our partnership with the government. 97% of them have bank accounts, but they don't have access to their own ATM cards and are not able to use their own money. Mobility barriers and transport issues keep them at home. And only 65% of them had even utilized government schemes. And it's not because they don't qualify, it's because the system is just not designed for them. So this is what this panel is here for, and I'm glad to be a part of it. And that's what the conference is also supposed to be about, right? For the South-South collaboration. And it's that when all of us talk together, we realize that there are so many shared backgrounds of poverty, informal labor, and social exclusion as well. So what we hope to bring out through this panel is how we can share knowledge, how we can understand how solutions from one country can be replicated across borders. So with that, Sangeeta has already given us a wonderful introduction of this panel, but I'd like to start with Ms. Pragya Prasun with her first-hand experience of what it's like to be a woman with a disability and all the work that she's done for our community.
Good afternoon, everyone. Before I start, I want all of you to look towards your left and towards your right and see the people who are sitting beside you and say a hello. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for doing it. And you know what? But when people like us get into a room, we don't see smile when we see hello. We see scare, we see pity. That is something we don't want. My name is Pragya, and for all those of you who don't know me, I am an acid attack survivor. This happened to me 12 days after my wedding in 2006. And for people who cannot see me, I am wearing a blue suit with pink dupatta, and my face is completely disfigured. I have black hairs. I lost hair due to the acid attack around my forehead, so I am wearing a scarf to cover the head. So yeah, this is who I am, and this is my new identity. Till the age of 23 years, I was living a life of an enabled person, doing everything, completed my master's, got married to the most wonderful person I ever known in my life, and suddenly everything changed. It changed because a jilted man who wanted to marry me threw acid on me because I married somebody else. And I was not aware about what is the attack, what is the consequence, what is disability, nothing. Everything was introduced only after this incident when it happened to me. When I was in Burns ward undergoing multiple reconstructive surgery, This is the best I could look any plastic surgeon could have done to my face. Um, I realized the challenges any burn patient face. And for the initial 4 months, I was swinging between life and death. Doctors were not sure whether I'll be able to make it or not, but I did. And I think that God has, and I always say that God has put me into this turn test to do something, make something big out of my life and out of my being. And that was the reason, with all the experience I had, and uh, I saw the lack in the infrastructure and treatment of burn and acid attack patient. I wanted to do something, and I wanted to become that bridge between the doctors, between the society and the survivors, and so that I am able to integrate all of them into the society. And that's how I started Atijeevan Foundation, to provide rehabilitation to acid attack and burn survivors across the country. We provide free of cost reconstructive surgeries. We skill train them, provide them vocational training, and we also uh, provide them all kind of entrepreneurial opportunity, anything and everything possible, customized to each and every individual, so that we can integrate them into the society. The only challenge here is, when they go out, people don't accept them in their workplaces, because I did my masters. When I went to ask for a job, I was told that, you first get your surgeries done. How do I make anyone understand that this is the best I could look, and I want to move on in my life? I want to do something more out of my life than recovering from one surgery, then another, and going for another. And it was difficult for me to make anyone understand. And I know that it has been difficult for each of the acid attack survivor to make anyone understand. And we often look at each other, and the first thing we notice is the face and the beauty. That is something which lacks here. um, all this, and all the challenges which I had faced, and so many survivors faced, was put under a name in 2017, when acid attack survivors were introduced in RPWD Act 2017, and by the government of India. And I thought, now the challenges will be less, and we'll be able to get job. But when we went, people, the workspaces were not acceptable. They didn't want it, because they were worried, what would our colleagues, the people who are working there, what would they think? They are not comfortable with people, like facial disfigurement working around them. And from 2017 till date, we have been able to place around 57 girls in the workplace, and that is the highest number I don't know how many doors I have knocked. I have not left any door to knock, any corporate door, everywhere, to find a job opportunity for an acid attack survivor. And it has been really, really challenging till date. uh, for the disability certificates, UDIDs, again, we have survivors across the country, and when they go for the disability certificate, um, they are still told that facial disfigurement doesn't come under disability, irrespective of the government telling and introducing acid attack survivor under. And I want to bring this topics, because people are not even aware when the survivors, they go to make their UDIDs. And I don't know where if there is anyone from the Department of Person with Disabilities. I have been following up with them that uh, please write an SOP and send it to all the hospitals, so that acid attack survivors, they get UDIDs, which is so important for them to get a job or to get any kind of facility what they deserve to. And I'm still following up. So yeah, and what to do if they are not getting job? What to do next? So I had to find something to engage them, because most of the patients who undergo multiple surgeries, they often almost many of them, they are under depression, they go through PTSD, and it becomes very difficult for us to bring them back into the mainstream. How to engage them? So I started IBAS, empowering burn and acid attack survivors. And through IBAS, we have been able to provide livelihood opportunities through skill training to these survivors who are not able to do a 9 to 5 job, who are not able to get a 9 to 5 job. They make handmade products, and we sell it through IBAS. Down back in 3 years back, I went to open a bank account and get a SIM card. All these stories, I have told multiple times, so I'll make it short. I was told that I was asked to. That they'll take a photograph, and I was asked to blink my eye. I told one of my eye won't blink, and they told we won't be able to give you a SIM card and a bank account. So these are the two challenges. I had to do something about it, and I fought this petition in Supreme Court. And on 30th of April 2025, acid attack survivors and people with facial disfigurement and visual impairment were given this fundamental right, and this Supreme Court announced it in Article 21 that digital accessibility is a fundamental right. So I think the struggle is never, while we are talking about, to become the bridge, the struggle is never enough, never ending.
Pragya, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing all the work that you've done. It's amazing. I think when your struggle, when you speak about it, when you ask for what you deserve, you're changing so many other people's lives. And I think that's everything that you just spoke about is a great segue into maybe Neha, if you can. Oh, sorry. I think the presentation order is Minita next, but I'd love to hear more about financial inclusion and digital inclusion from you as well. Minita, over to you on your work in Nepal and all of the work that you've done in business, government, and civil society to build inclusive employment and entrepreneurship opportunities for women with disabilities.
Are we starting the presentation?
Sorry about that, but I think that's a great segue to talk about financial inclusion. So,
thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I'm Neha. For those who cannot see me, I'll describe myself as a short-heighted female with black hairs, and I'm wearing a light blue sari. So I represent Friends of Women's World Banking, and thank you very much for providing this opportunity to me and my organization. Today I want to speak about something very deep, which makes a lot of meaning to us as an organization, which is how inclusive economies are built when we intentionally support women entrepreneurship, especially for the women with disability. And over the years, as an organization, we have learned that inclusion doesn't just happen by chance, You have to be intentional. You have to build it in your design and have to be very conscious in integrating it in the work that you do. Next slide, please. So I'll very briefly talk about my organization, which is Friends of Women's World Banking India. We are based in Ahmedabad and we were set up in 1981 by Shrila Ben Bhatt, who has also been the founder of SEVA. Over the last 4 decades, in fact, more than 4 decades, our work has expanded over 22 states of India with over 470 grassroots institutions working with us. So we also work with smaller organizations at the grassroots, whom we call as our network partners. And through our direct efforts and also through these institutions, we have been able to reach out to 12 million women across India. Our focus as an organization is on multiple themes. So we work on livelihood and entrepreneurship promotion. We are also present in the agriculture and climate action segment. We also work on renewable energy, water, and sanitation. But they all have one shared goal, which is to strengthen women's economic resilience. So we operate through what we call a dual engine model. On one side, we have the capacity building vertical, wherein we are working on skilling, knowledge building, and digital tool enhancement. While on the other side, we also provide catalytic finance, the capital which enables women to start and grow their livelihoods and nano businesses. And over the time, we have seen that neither of these engine would work in isolation. So we are accelerating both these efforts by working as a catalytic finance provider and also as a capacity building organization. In the recent years, we have deepened our commitment to critical yet an overlooked group. So while as an organization we work with women from low-income household, but in the recent years we started realizing more in terms of working with women with disability on the ground. And their exclusion is not just due to gender, but there are also a lot of other factors leading to lesser involvement or exclusion of this segment. Can we move to the next slide, please? Moving to our approach or methodology, our approach begins with acknowledging the triple barriers that women with disability face, which are around gender biases, disability related to exclusion, or it could be either from economic deprivation. And these layers of disadvantage reinforce each other. So everything together culminates to a situation wherein women are having less access or less opportunities. As an organization, we work on 4 key pillars. The first one is that we design inclusive finance products. As I said, that we have a catalytic finance vertical within our organization. So we design inclusive finance products, from accessible loan applications to adapted repayment processes to softer interest rates to maybe services wherein women can receive these financial services at their doorstep for easy access. The second is we invest in capacity building and digital enablement. Now, this includes multiple trainings, which could be on promoting their livelihoods or promoting their businesses, business management support through trainings. And we also provide skill upgradation or technical assistance support to the women. The third part is that we work on strengthening the ecosystem partnerships. We feel that no single organization would be capable enough to comprehensively provide the support which is needed. So for us, building the ecosystem or building the ecosystem partnerships is one of the key elements. And we try to collaborate with financial institutions, which could be microfinance organizations, they could be NGOs, they could be disability organizations, central, state, or even local government setups, and even digital infrastructure providers to work in collaboration so that we can all together build an enabling ecosystem to support this segment. The fourth, but not the least, is the segment wherein we rely on monitoring. So there is a lot of dependence for us as an organization on monitoring and integrating the learnings of our work at the grassroots throughout the engagement that we have with the women, and particularly with the women with disability. So what's more important is that this model is not one size fits all sort of a model. So we recognize that if people are coming in, or women with disabilities may have diverse requirements, and we are very, very conscious of the fact that one thing or one solution may not be workable for every single individual. So that's where we try our best to co-create different solutions and constantly look at bringing in more solutions, more improvements to the efforts that we are making. Next, please. I'll move to the slide on the fourth slide, please. The one previous to this. Yeah, thank you. So learning is a constant journey for us as an organization. And as I said, in this space, we are slightly new in the segment of serving women comprehensively, particularly the women with disabilities. And through this journey, there have been some key learnings which we could gather as an organization, and every single year we are trying to learn more. But just to highlight few, the first one is that inclusion must be designed, not added on. So we realized early on that accessibility can be an afterthought. If we really want to do something with this segment, whether it's on the financial inclusion space or the overall upliftment or empowerment space, the thought should be included at a very initial stage when you are designing the entire program. So if it is not designed early on, or when that thought is not coming in early on, then I don't think it would fit at a later level, because that's where you might need to redesign your intervention altogether. The second piece is social capital drives confidence. No matter how much effort organizations like us would be making to provide support or empower, but women, we have observed, they thrive when they are surrounded by supportive networks, families, neighborhoods, self-help groups, or other local champions. So that also acts as a great support system or enabling environment provider for the women. And as an organization, we have learned that we need to invest a lot of time and effort to make that happen. It's not an easy journey. It's a constant process, and a lot of efforts and time may go towards it. But maybe that's the right way to make that happen. The third one is, as I said, that collaboration and partnership is the way forward. So no institution can work in isolation if we are really looking at providing a comprehensive solution. So when NGOs, microfinance organizations, other like-minded institutions working in this space, if they are able to come together, then we are sure that we will be able to create some difference for the women. And last but not the least is inclusion leads to innovation. So interestingly, designing for accessibility, it often makes products and processes better for everyone, not just for the people who have disability. Because when you come up with such solutions, it could have a lot of other features, may it be simplified language, visual processes, or use of technologies, or many other features associated to it, which may even work as a benefit for the other segment beyond this. Last one, please. So as an organization, I would like to call for action, wherein, as we look ahead, the message for us is simple. Inclusive economies are built when opportunities, finance, and skills are accessible to all without any expectations. But this is not the responsibility of one organization. We are open to collaboration. We are open to work together. And we welcome the organization sitting here in this room, and even beyond this, if there are opportunities wherein we could support each other, if there are opportunities wherein we could, parallelly provide direction and anchor things collectively, I think we are more than happy to do that. Together, we can ensure that every woman, regardless of her ability, has the opportunity to participate fully in and contribute meaningfully to the economic growth. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Neha. I think we'll move on to our next panelist. I'm hoping we have time for a round of questions. I know we've already gone a little over. I think the next, I'm hoping it's Minita, but I don't know who has been ordered here next. Minita, since I already gave you an introduction, we'd love to hear from you.
Hello and namaste, everyone. This is Minita Kimire. I work as Participant Engagement Manager at Global Compact Nepal, which also hosts the Nepal Business and Disability Network. And I'll be mostly talking about how the stories in Nepal on how women entrepreneurs with disabilities have the context of them in Nepal, and at the same time, what has worked for them and what Global Compact and Nepal Business and Disability Network can do to enhance collaboration in the Global South region as well. I'll start with the introduction to the organization. If you can move to the next slide. Okay. So, Global Compact Nepal is the country network of the United Nations Global Compact, and it is an initiative for the private sector. So, it is led by the private sector. It's actually voluntarily, but we call for the private sector who are actually interested in taking sustainability as their major agenda, and we help them achieve that sustainability through capacity building programs, through enabling partnerships, and also through a lot of resources that is provided by the Global Compact in the areas of human rights, labor, environment, and anti-corruption. To give you a perspective, Global Compact is 23,000 members strong worldwide, meaning we have 23,000 plus members, most of which are private sector companies who are dedicated to the principles of Global Compact. In Nepal, we are 116 members, which comprises of private sector and civil society organizations. Our work in disability is fairly recent. We only started working in disability in 2022, and this came directly with the support from the UNRCO's office. So they came to us and told us that there is a huge gap in Nepal for persons with disabilities and the corporate sector. They're not even sensitized on issues of disability yet, and I think a collaboration between the Global Compact, which has a strong network of private sector across the world, would be very essential to establish, a network like Nepal Business and Disability Network in Nepal that works solely for the purpose of creating more job opportunities for persons with disabilities. So, much of our focus lies on creating more job opportunities for persons with disabilities. But recently, we also came across these women entrepreneurs with disabilities who are doing fairly good on their own. And we came to realize that as Nepal Business and Disability Network, our role is not just creating job opportunities for women with disabilities, but it is also to empower and enable an environment that will also enable these women entrepreneurs to create more job by becoming an entrepreneur themselves. If you have to talk what is the context in Nepal, it is for women with entrepreneurs with disabilities, it is more of a micro and home-based business that they've started out of necessity because they don't have any other access to resources. It's mostly limited to handicraft and textile work, but they perfectly do well in their jobs, and they have created this good range of products that are actually export quality products as well. They're involved in small food production, pickles. It is called achar in Nepal. Snacks, home cooked meals are some of their products that they sell, and they also provide beauty and personal services. And most popularly, agricultural activities are common with women entrepreneurs with disabilities in Nepal. So they have this land, they can lease a land, they produce their own produces and then sell them in the market. So I think what you can understand from this slide is that it's very micro, it's home based, it's very small till now. And this is because they don't have proper access to finance, they don't have proper access to the markets, they don't have enough education for them to, even if they produce export quality products, they don't have enough voice to kind of like go into the international market and then promote their products in that market. So this is where I'm talking about the problems that they continuously face here. And I think Global Compact can, in the long run, bring a solution through Nepal Business and Disability Network in a way that these problems, for instance, private sector, they have their own money, they have their own supply chain, they have their own value chain. And a lot of times they are not even aware that there are these kind of entrepreneurs who are constantly working and who also need a space who they can also procure from, right? So that is where Global Compact stands, because we have this network of private sector not just limited to Nepal, it is also beyond Nepal, right? So it is present all across the world. So what we want to do with this network is to create an environment where we can start collaboration among these countries, right? So even in India and across global South Asia, there are Global Compact networks. So we want to make these connections among persons with entrepreneurs with disabilities and global compacts across the world, so that they can provide more market for these products that is generated or manufactured by women with disabilities. I think one of our main focus is on that. And while it might not be possible for private sector to provide job opportunities for persons with disabilities at every case, what they can do is they can one of the major problems that these entrepreneurs face is also investment in their education, investment in their ideas, investment in overall their business as well. All of the entrepreneurs that I'm talking about right now have very little investments, like they started with like 50,000 rupees of investment, which is like $500. Yeah, so it's very small amount. So these small amounts can actually be allocated by the private sector in order to invest in those kind of businesses, right? So we want to create an ecosystem where the private sector also would like to invest in persons with disabilities, procure from them, and this is what we're advocating through the Global Compact.
Thank you. Thanks, Manita. I think we'll move on to our last panelist, and hopefully we can do a quick round of questions. Dr. Charu Sharma, from your work as a physical rehabilitation project manager, could you please tell us about, the work at the intersection of disability inclusion, conflict response, and economic reintegration, and how it should not be an afterthought in disaster preparedness?
Thank you. Thanks a lot, dear. So at the outset, for those who cannot see me, I would want to share that I'm an Indian woman with the name Charu, with the black hair and wearing black and pink, dark pink sari today. So now, thank you for the organizers. Of course, Meera ma'am, because of whom I'm, sitting. She's actually invited me. So yes, thank you, ma'am. And Zero Project, of course, and CII IBDN team here. Great to have you all here. And today, as I'm representing my institution, that is International Committee of the Red Cross. So I would be talking about what kind of social inclusion and disability inclusion interventions International Committee of the Red Cross has been taken for decades, actually, and also bringing in some of the lessons learned from other contexts apart from India. Here I would want to highlight that last year, actually, when it comes to vocational training and employment under social inclusion, we had a partnership with Youth for Jobs Foundation, actually. So, yeah. Can I move? Yes. Uh, would like to start with some field experience. Two success stories. One is from Ukraine and one is from Mali, Africa. So would want to actually start the presentation with the real heroes who are in the field. These are the women with disabilities who have been part of the ICRC programs. They were our beneficiaries, I would say. So one is Valeria. She's been into disability sports. You can see from the picture in the slide that she's a wheelchair racing. She's doing that in Ukraine. And then she's also been trained specifically in nail art, actually. And now she's able to be by herself, taking care of herself. So this is a woman coming from Ukraine, in such a, what is happening in Ukraine, right? So in that, so this is just one of the beneficiaries from one of our projects there under social inclusion. Moving to another example in Mali. So the girl there is Ramida, and she got amputation because of an accident. And after that, through the ICRC's physical rehabilitation program, first we started with her physical rehabilitation, wherein physiotherapy services, prosthetic device, because she lost her one leg, so amputation was done and she was provided with an prosthesis. So after all the physical rehabilitation, how she can complete her education, that was something which was worked about, and then followed up with the vocational training. So there actually there was this program on in which she got this hair salon. So all these examples are basically more from the self-employment point of view. And also, as I said, that with ICRC, our field is the humanitarian settings. So the programs which we run when it comes to social inclusion or microeconomic initiatives, wherein some seed money is provided to the women with disability, again depending upon the needs. So an entire need assessment is being done, because I would also want to share the program, how these programs are designed when it comes to women with disabilities. So a thorough need assessment is required, and also what is viable there. Many times, because I think some of the panelists spoke that sharing expertise for sure, but what may work in Ukraine may not work in India, or what may work in India might not work in Africa. Of course, there are commonalities when it comes to women with disabilities. Trust me, since we are working in over 90 countries worldwide, ICRC. So when it comes to women, more or less the challenges are similar. I won't say same, but they are similar. There are issues to still the stigma, the social stigma. We have the access to various kind of services, health services, rehabilitation services, so on and so forth. So coming back, I would say that when it comes to the programs with talks of disability inclusion, social inclusion, trust me, I mean, here today we are, most of us, we know the importance of inclusion at various levels, program levels, grassroots level. But there are a lot of people who are outside of this room who still needs to be sensitized. Again, I would say, I'm not only talking about India per se, I'm talking about a humanitarian crisis situation, where you have, as you mentioned in the question, disasters and all of that. So I'll just slightly touch upon that element, because that in itself is a long topic. I would just say that whenever such crisis situation happens, what is really on the ground is, the communities, the local communities. So it's very important that we build the capacity of the local communities. All the sensitization sessions, dissemination sessions about disability, this is one part. Apart, and also in the previous panel, as we were talking about assistive technology and the importance of that, so that is also linked, because without having access to basic assistive technology, how we plan to help the persons with disability even during emergency, response. So this is also something I would want to touch upon. So as time is limited, so coming back, actually, I changed my, oops, I cannot quickly, I would just want to focus on some of the figures here. So in 2023, under social inclusion initiatives, so when I say social inclusion initiatives, I'm talking about the kind of activities we do through promotion of disability sports, through access to education, and also vocational training and employability. Under that, in 2023, ICRC's social inclusion initiative benefited more than 10,000 persons with disability globally, out of which 31% were women with disabilities. And then in 2024 as well, we reached close to 11,000 beneficiaries worldwide, and in which we also had about, say, similar 29% of women with disabilities. So with this statistics, again, you can find out when we talk of women with disabilities, what is the section we are actually achieving. This also shows the access. You know, if this is 29% or 31%, the rest are, of course, they are men and others, but this also highlights that still there is a challenge or a gap when it comes to access. So thank you, and I hope I touched upon all the things which you mentioned. Thank you.
so
Over
much.
to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Charu. Do we have time for quick question? I don't know if anyone can confirm. 5 minutes? Okay, perfect. So, Pragya, I'd like to ask you a question about peer-led mentorship versus mentorship by women without disabilities. We talk about inclusion in a lot of programs, in a lot of disaster preparedness, in entrepreneurship, skilling, all of that, and inclusion is often something that is added on later. And that, or it is something that is completely separate in the program. So my question to you is, do you see more importance of peer-led mentorship by women with disabilities for women with disabilities, or do you find more importance of mentorship of women with disabilities of women without disabilities?
See, it makes a difference when I am talking to somebody and telling her that you can do it. She will understand that I've also gone through the similar situation and I've come out of it and I'm doing it. So of course it's an add-on, but we need people from various backgrounds and experiences to guide and support women with disabilities. So we want people with from different part to support them.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Neha, my question to you. I think recently government figures showed that 55% of the new bank accounts are held by women. But yet we're not seeing active use of those bank accounts. So if you could maybe quickly tell us what is one way in which women with disabilities can start actively using their own bank account over just access to finance.
A very valid question, Anushka. This question, I think, is very relevant for even women beyond disabilities too. Like while we work with women, we observe that almost, at least with the segment of women that we are working, we see that almost 70% plus women have a bank account, even in certain remote locations. But actually, when you get on the ground and you try to look at the usability of this account, that is a big question mark. So the observation or the learning for us as an organization is that one is lack of awareness. Though the accounts are opened because of whatsoever benefits or the schemes, but women actually are not aware like where to go, what to do, and how is it that they can make use of these bank accounts. So awareness is a major limitation. Second is also in terms of access. Like even if you make them aware, how is it that they will be able to reach out and get those facilities for themselves is a limitation. If we talk about the women with disabilities, not in a major way, but in a small effort, we have tried to create some facilities for women wherein maybe they can look at availing this thing at their doorstep. right? So assisted models or doorstep services is something that organizations in the financial inclusion space can focus on.
Thank you, Neha. So, mobile financial services and awareness is our key takeaway from here. And quickly, for both of you, I think you both spoke about global contexts. I'd love it if you could maybe tell us one ask that you have from women with disabilities, or something that is a pilot that you've seen we could benefit from across the global south. I know you said that culturally, economically, very different contexts, but there have to be something that can be replicated across the global south. Dr. Charu, if you can start us off, and then Minita, if you can wrap it up.
Thanks for the question, dear. I would still say that whatever intervention we plan, it has to be context specific. I think that is the word, context and needs, because they go hand in hand. Of course, the lessons learned, I would say a close monitoring, because usually, especially when it comes to microeconomic initiative, so let me tell you what it is. So it's basically providing a financial support at the beginning of a project when we are designing for a woman with disability or a person with disability per se. So once you have given that seed amount to the person, what kind of further support are you giving? Entire business development plan, entire hand holding, that technical support is required as well, together with close monitoring. Thank you.
That hand holding can
the hand holding support. Yes, thank you.
Minita, if something that you've seen in Nepal or something that can be replicated across the global south.
For us in Nepal, it's for now it's to get started, right? It is in the very basic level, and then we need to start. But I guess something that we can share, being the representative of Global Compact, is to ask for all the countries in their respective disability networks to work closely with the Global Compact, because they are there to create that market. They're there to create more opportunities, and they're there for sustainability as a whole. And inclusion is a bigger part of sustainability. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I know we went over time, but it's really important to talk about intersectional issues in conferences like this. And what, for me, the key takeaway is that increasing global networks and partnerships and exchange of knowledge is what can get us to where we want to be. So thank you all.
Of intersectionality, I would like to make a small confession before we move on to the next one. The confession is that when you come from a place of privilege and you have not yourself experienced those biases, you are very dismissive. I am a woman with multiple disabilities, but mind you, I was also very dismissive about, intersectionality. But then when I started working in this sector, I learned that how these different intersections overlap and complicate disability. For example, a woman who has a disability, who belongs to a Dalit, category, they have their own issues. It's so complicated, so complex. So in India, we need to have such conversations very frequently to be able to understand our own biases and also work against them, and for the bigger policymakers to also bring in these voices and these complexities. So thank you so much once again, Anushka, and all of you.